Hey everyone. All right. So yeah, let's start as people to sort of keep on joining in. So yeah, to start with, guys, thank you so much for joining us today. Really appreciate it, and a big hi to everyone who had come in from Blog Knife, Blog Life, and the folks at Blog Knife, Abhishek specifically. Are our partners at iZooto, and we appreciate them sort of working with us to put together this webinar. We're excited about this. Right, so let's dive straight in. Right, I'm Vivek. I'm one of the founders at iZooto, and today we'll talk about how not to monetize your push notifications. Right now, for most of you, if you haven't been living under a rock, right, you would know precisely that push notification probably is the hottest thing on the block right now. Push notifications, while as a concept have been around for a while now, right? The monetization capability, right, has recently been introduced, and we've now seen an incredible amount of interest coming in from the buy side, specifically on them wanting to tap into this channel to drive more traffic and sales and conversion for themselves. Right? So while the buy side is super excited about this, it is extremely important for the publishers and the sell side to understand the common pitfalls of monetizing push notifications, right? So let's dive straight in. Okay, so now I'll give you a quick background about iZooto and how we have been on both sides of this game, right? Quick check. Prior to iZooto, I was part of another company which focused heavily on servicing a lot of advertisers, and we essentially came in from a sales side, helping them monetize inventory, which was not accessible conventionally on the internet, right? And we saw how the focus, and back in the day, and this is around 2014, everybody was focused strongly on only customer acquisition, right? Over the last 3 years at iZooto, we've worked now pretty much with everyone in the business, ranging from e-commerce sites, e-commerce, online retail, to gambling businesses, to large media publications, to small bloggers, to niche boutique health sites, and so on, right? But primarily, we've seen two clear segments who have sort of engaged with us extensively, right? One being the online retailers, and second being the online publishers, right? And we've seen both these sites, both these partners being equally excited about push notifications for different reasons, right? The e-commerce folks are excited about them wanting to convert more, which is retargeting engagement and attention, and the publishers are excited about them getting their hands dirty on one more channel of user engagement and user retention, right? And more importantly, reducing their dependency on Google and Facebook, right? Now, specifically within the publisher ecosystem, right, we've seen different two different schools of thought evolving, right? One school of thought which believes in leveraging push notifications only to drive and engage their traffic, only to engage their own audience, right? And the other side essentially is also focused on monetizing these push notifications, right? And we have seen both of these at scale, right? To give you a quick perspective, iZooto today, as we speak, process over 15,000 marketers across the globe. In fact, now this number is 16,000 plus, right? Use iZooto to push out over 11 billion notifications, right? Now, this number essentially places iZooto as, in fact, it puts us as the second largest push notification provider across the globe, right? We work with some of the largest publications across the globe, including the likes of IRCTC, Inno Express, Malay Mail, Tencent in Thailand, and so on and so forth, right? And these publications have leveraged push notifications to build solid, engaged audience, which now ranges right from few thousands to a couple of millions, right? And we've sort of seen both kind of publishers working with us. One kind which is engaging their audience and driving repeat traffic for themselves, and one kind which is focused very, very specifically on monetization. Now, what is extremely important to sort of understand at this step is that how push advertising is conventionally different from pull advertising, right? A lot of publishers, a lot of marketers sort of confuse or mix up these two concepts, right? It is sort of extremely important to understand that the nuances are completely different because the user experience is completely different between push and pull, right? Pull advertising essentially is what you see on the internet day in, day out, right? When you're watching a YouTube video or when you're reading an article, the ads which you see below the article, right of the article, top of the article, right? The classic banner ads, the classic native ads, right? That is exactly what is essentially what essentially is called as or tagged as pull advertising, right? Which essentially means that whenever you are consuming a piece of content on the internet, the publisher or the content creator can potentially show you some ads on that real estate, right? As compared to push advertising, which essentially revolves around can the publisher push ads to you directly, either via email, SMS, or push notifications, right? Now, because of the difference between the way the user is engaging with the brand in these two formats, right? The rules are also completely different, right? The value chain is different, the metrics are different, and because of these two things, the execution strategy is completely different as well, right? And we'll sort of talk more about how exactly how different is the execution for push advertising specifically. Now, so what is extremely important to see is this, right? In case of a classic pull advertising model, which is what you experience on the internet day in, day out, right? For example, let's say with Google AdSense, right? The focus of publisher is very simple. The publisher wants to ensure that the ads that the users are seeing as they visit the website should be contextual to the user, right? They should not be completely irrelevant, right? And the ads should enjoy higher viewability, right? Obviously, the ads must be brand safe, right? That's the underlying denominator here. But these two are the most important metrics as a publisher picks up in a display or a native ad network today, right? Now, as compared to this, right, the push notification, right, while context remains extremely important, right, push notifications by default enjoy an extremely high viewability, right? The typical quote unquote viewability on push notifications varies anywhere between 80% to 95%, right? Now, this, and again, right, that is purely because of the nature of the channel itself, right? With push notification, what is extremely critical is how are you timing your push notifications? And given the fact that it's a notification, right? The timing dictates the experience of the user, specifically because with varying device, right? For example, the way you would consume content on a mobile device is very different from the way you would consume content on a desktop device, right? And this is exactly what, and this is why getting the timing right with while engaging with your audience or while even pushing ads to your audience with push notification is extremely important, right? Now, moving forward, we will just see monetization of push notification. You as a publisher or marketer have fundamentally three levers in your hands, right? Number one, indirectly driving monetization of your site, which is as you push more notifications, as you engage your audience, and as you drive more traffic on your own website, you're ramping up your existing inventory. Now, we've seen this clearly that consistent engagement of your audience can help you increase your traffic by up to 10 to 15%, right? Now, a traffic increase of 10 to 15% essentially translates into 10 to 15% incremental ad impressions, right? Now, these are ads which you are already serving, right, with your advertising partners, right, which could be, right from Google Sense to Taboola. Any of these ad partners who are currently working with you will automatically get 10 to 15% more requests from you, right? And this will inevitably translate into similar more revenue for you, right? The impact of the revenue obviously could sort of vary between 5% to 15%, but this has a straight up, and again, right, because of the fact that this is incremental traffic coming to you, this revenue also is incremental revenue for you. That's one. Second is where you leverage your direct sales and place push notification as an inventory format while you are going out there and selling brand solutions, right? Obviously, this gives you a far higher monetization capability, but it does require you to have a direct sales team. Now, this is possible only for publishers who operate at a specific scale and who can actually command a premium in the market as well, right? The third and the most exciting piece, right, and something which we at iZooto focus on heavily, is where we help you plug in sponsored content or native content ads into push notifications and drive incremental engagement and potential and revenue directly to the publisher. Right. This is the part which we will sort of focus on which we sort of focus on in this webinar today. Now, before we sort of dive into that part, right, it's sort of important to understand that the correlation between push notification performance and push notification ad performance, right? Now, what we've observed over the past 1.5 years since we've been executing push notification ad campaigns along with the partners like Taboola, Pragmatic, Output, and so on, is that the performance of push notification, right, directly impacts the ad revenue, right? Bulk of these partners currently are only working on a CPC model, right? CPM essentially is when this goes programmatic, which hasn't really happened yet at a scalable level, right? Now, from a pure push notification performance point of view, right, we've seen essentially 3 key levers that you have in your hand to drive impact and scale, right? The first one is relevancy. How relevant is the content of your push notification? Number 2, timing, right? How well are you timing your communication for your audience, right? Number 3, how frequently are you engaging with your audience, right? Or to put it another way, how consistent are you with your audience engagement strategy, right? Now, relevancy essentially revolves around segmentation, or around understanding your audience better and using that understanding to create better content and to push better content to your audience, right? Timing essentially again revolves in understanding your audience from a point of view of how do they consume content, and more importantly, when do they consume content on specific devices. For example, people do not usually consume content on their desktop or laptops after working hours, right? At the same time, people consume a lot of content. Users now consume a lot of content on mobile, specifically in the evening hours, right? So we've seen amazing volume of notifications being pushed out after 5 p.m. on mobile, which also attracts higher CTRs, right? From a frequency point of view, the question is very simple. How frequently are you communicating with your users, right? And how that frequency actually impacting your audience in terms of their retention on your audience list. Now, it's also sort of important to lay down the ground rules of push notification ads and what is directly impacting the performance of these notifications, right? Straight up. When the focus of, whenever we have seen publishers focus blindly on only monetization, right? That is exactly when we see a sharp rise in revenue, right? With followed by a consistent plummeting, right? We've seen that revenue, literally, push notification ad revenue drops at a far higher rate when the focus is only and only on monetization, right? This essentially means that these publishers are not pushing any content to the end user, but they're only pushing ads. Now, this obviously backfires because when the user is subscribing for notifications, they expect you to engage with them, with your content, right, and not necessarily ads, right? Number two, what you've seen backfiring consistently is absolutely blind ad campaigns, right? Or as we say, the classic spray and pray approach, where a single ad is being pushed to your audience on a daily basis without really keeping a track of are users actually engaging with or not engaging with it. Right? What we've also seen, and this is something which a lot of our competition plays in today, is pushing the gray area with brand unsafe ads. Right? This is exactly when you This is exactly when you enter the realm of adult dating, gambling, and so on and so forth. Right? You as a publisher, if your audience is sensitive to this kind of content, you must sort of cautiously keep an eye out for brand unsafe ads which can potentially get delivered to your subscribers. Right. Complete automation of engagement along with ads can also be detrimental. Right. A classic example of this is when you plug in your RSS feed with your push notification service provider, right? And if you are publishing 50 stories a day, or 40 stories a day, or 100 stories a day, it will essentially result in 50 or 40 or 100 notifications being pushed out to your users, right? And on top of that, you're also pushing out ads to your users, right? This kind of a blind automation also creates extremely poor experience for the end for your audience, right? And directly impacts your push notification ad revenue, right? What we have seen working for a fact is when the publisher takes ownership of their audience, right, and directly is involved in crafting an engagement strategy, right, and that is something which we sort of focused heavily at iZooto on. With our publishers, right? We work with publishers across Southeast Asia specifically. So, for instance, this case study which we recently completed, wherein Jamar, who is CEO of Phil News, started tapping into push notification slowly but consistently, right? And in just 90 days, right, they had seen an impact of up to 20% on their total traffic. Right. Now that's extremely powerful, right? From 2 points of view. One, it helped Jamar increase his. It directly increased their ad impressions. At the same time, when they started leveraging iZooto's push notification ad capabilities, they also saw consistent ad revenue, which has scaled over the past 60 days. Now, let's sort of take a quick look at what exactly does it mean. So while you're building the audience, right, one of the most important point is you giving them context of what exactly can they expect to receive as notifications, right? Now, because audience size is what will sort of govern your ability to monetize and earn dollars, it is important that you create the right subscription experience for your end users, right? By giving them a lot of context, right? To give you a quick example, right? if you look at this slide, this sort of talks about how a user is categorically opting in for push notification rather than just blindly click. So rather than just blindly showing the push, ask for permission as a user land arrives on your screen, arrives on your page, you can you must sort of you must consider the option of giving them a context and then and using a two-step process to sort of say, hey, do you want notifications about news and latest content that we publish, right? And only once the user says yes, should you sort of present the user with the main subscription prompt, which is this in this case, right? This clearly sort of, and again, the key obviously here is to set the expectations right, which is why using something like a welcome notification could be fairly powerful. What is also important, and I'll sort of now before I sort of hit this part, right, I'll quickly take a minute and show you what exactly do we, how we have seen some of these publishers leverage push notification to drive traffic at scale for themselves, right, and then directly impact their ad revenue. And also use iZooto's push notification ad platform, which helps you not only set personalized ads, but also controls the volume, right? So that it gives you incremental returns over a period of time. So if you look at this sheet, right, and there's a calculator which we follow religiously at iZooto, and we share a sample of this after the webinar. So let's start. So we basically assume some numbers here. If your traffic is, let's say, 10 million, right, and this traffic is increasing at a 10% rate on a monthly basis, right, and we've sort of done a split of desktop versus mobile, right, at a 30% desktop traffic, right, you could fundamentally end with 60,000 active subscribers in the first month. And this number essentially starts compounding as we go on from month 1 to month 6. Right? It's also important to understand some of these terms here. What we assume here very clearly is that the churn of your subscribers as they get added to your list for the first month, so subscribers who are added recently to your audience, they would churn at a higher rate, which is around 30 to 40%, right? And subscribers who have existed in the system for a while would churn at around about between 20 to 30%, right? Now this obviously is directly related to the volume of notification which you're pushing out, right? Which in this case we have taken to be 3 notifications per user per day, right? Now, if you increase this number, these 2 numbers will increase drastically, and we'll sort of talk about this in the next slide, where I'll give you a quick overview of how subscriber churn looks like over a period of 30, 60, 90, and 100 days. Right? Now, with this churn, now again, even with this high churn of 36% and 29%, you could still look at accumulating a total of 170,000 subscribers on desktop in 6 months flat out, right? Now, what this also implies is this, if you can see this, right? At 3 notifications per user per month, you're fundamentally pushing out 9 notifications in a month, right? Which essentially means that you would have pushed out 5.5 million notifications in a single month, in the first month, right? Now, it is important to understand that this is exactly how compounding works, right? If you look at this, that from the first month of from a volume of 5.5 million, this has gone to 9.5 million in the second month and 12.3 in the next month, right? This is the beauty of building and accumulating your audience, right? Now, assuming a miserable CTR of 1.5%, right? And you would do much better than this if you're doing only 3 notifications a month. But going conservative on this number, you could look at generating close to about 80,000 clicks on a daily basis, on a monthly basis, right? Which then sort of compounds to 140,000, 180,000, and so on, right? And by month 6, 200,000 visitors on your site will be coming in from pure play push notifications, right? Now, when you look at this number as a percentage of your total traffic, so we've done the same maths here as well for mobile, right? If you look at the consolidated number that you have here, then we're looking at a total of 170,000 subscribers in the first month at a 10 million traffic, right? And this assumes, by the way, that the website attracts 50% iOS traffic. Now, given this, right, given this and the notification volume activity to be at 3 per user per month, right, you are potentially looking at adding, increasing your traffic by 2% in the first month itself, right? And this sort of keeps on growing from 2% to 4% to 5 to 6, and so on, right? Now there is a twofold impact here on of this traffic on your monetization capability, right? The first is the increased impressions which you would see, the increased ad impressions which you would see on your current website itself, right? So let's say if you saw an RPM of 5 on your website, right, you could straight away multiply this with 5 and sort of have a direct revenue impact. So let's just do that maths once. Let's say, so let's do an RPM here is 5. It's the number. So at a 5 RPM, at RPM of 5, this essentially becomes one second. Yeah, this essentially translates into a direct revenue impact of $1,000 straight up in the first month for you, right? Now, the second month, okay, one second, this is going to be. Right, and this revenue sort of eventually again starts compounding for you, right? And you can sort of, as you can see, you're adding an incremental revenue of $2,000 almost every month without really doing any incremental advertising on the website, right? Now, when you actually start venturing into push notification advertising, what you're looking at is this, right? So with iZooto, the model which you follow is 2 notification ads on a daily basis, right? One ad is pushed in early morning, which is between 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., right? The second ad is pushed in early afternoon, which is between 12 noon to 2 p.m., right? Now, at 2 daily notification ads a day, you're essentially looking at a notification volume of 0.26 million in the first one itself, right? And again, at a miserable CTR of 0.9%, we've typically seen this to be in the range of 1% to 1.8%. But going conservative on this number, let's go with 0.9% and see how this sort of translates into pure play revenue for you, right? You would generate these many clicks at a monthly level. This translates to 60,000 clicks per month at least. At a payout of 20 cents, this essentially converts to $13,000 in the first month, right? Now again, you might not have all traffic coming in from US, because of which this specific CPC rate would be far lower as well. So even if we sort of reduce this to, let's say, 5 cents, right? Even at that level, you would end up generating a total ad revenue of $3,000 per month within, and this eventually starts compounding significantly. And if you look at this, in the first 6 months, you would have added close to about $40,000 of total ad revenue for yourself without integrating and without creating more ad slots on the website, without integrating another ad network on your website, right? So yeah, so that's really the beauty of push notification ads. But again, the key obviously here is limited volume of ads, consistent engagement with users. Again, add a cap volume. We'll sort of take a quick look at how notification volume, right, is directly related to subscriber churn, right? Awesome. Okay, so we did a quick subscriber churn analysis across our network for some of the largest publishers, and here is what we sort of found out. Right now, for the uninitiated, subscriber cohort analysis is nothing but a quick check on how your subscribers are behaving, right, on your network, right? So, in this case, for example, we are looking at the retention cohort of active subscribers on the platform, right, and how it is varying as per notification volume, right. Before I get lost in this, Divya, if you could give me a quick check on time, that will be great. Just ping me on chat if you go over time. Thanks. All right. So going back, we're looking at so at 3 notifications a day, right? We analyzed the performance of this cohort specifically for a period of 120 days, and we saw that the retention, the first one retention was around 77%. Now, as we increase this volume from 3 to 5 per day, right, we saw that this number of 77%, right, consistently plummets to the 60s in the first month, right? Now that's a flat. I mean, at 70%, at 77%, that is a direct impact. That's a significant impact, right, of 10% straight away, right? When you do an actual comparison, that number would be in the range of almost 15%, right? Now, okay, we have a question right now. Great. We'll pick this up in a bit from now. Right. Now, as we saw that the volume of notification increased from 3 to 5 to more than 5, this sort of further plummeted, right? And the impact was actually much more visible in the second and third and the fourth month, right? So if you look at this, right, after the 90-day retention at 3 notification was 65%, right? And more than 5, this was in the late 40s, right? Now that's a straight impact of close to about 20% straight up, right? Now this can be detrimental for your acquisition efforts. What this could actually start implying is you would end up stunting your growth completely, right? Whatever subscribers that you're adding, whatever audience that you're expanding, right? They would never really be you would never really be able to increase or actually expand your audience, right? What you would acquire is what you would learn completely. Is what you would lose completely, right? And this is directly related to notification frequency, right? Obviously, in this case, we consider only one specific. Our sample included only publishers who were sending notification without any segmentation, right? In the next slide, I'll sort of take a quick dive on how segmentation actually helps you significantly improve your notification ROI, and that actually helps you improve your ad revenue, right? Now, I'll take a quick step back here and show you the impact of notification volume, right? And how using segmentation can help you significantly improve not only your overall traffic, but also the overall engagement. Right. Now, what you're looking at right now is the performance data of one of the largest publishers that we work with in Southeast Asia. Now, if you look at what I actually wanted to show you essentially is the trend from August to January specifically, right? If you look at the notification volume, right, that is sort of pretty much been between 600, between 500 to 600 in this period, right? And if you look at the CTRs, right, and by the way, at this time, the audience for this notification was pretty much the entire user base. At this time, there was no segmentation done whatsoever, right? And CTRs have sort of plummeted right from 3.7% over a you know, from Jan of last month to 0.56%. That is literally 1/6 of what they had originally started from, right? As compared to in January, which is when they almost doubled their notification volume, right? Notification campaign volume, right? But if you look at the notification actual volume sent, the actual volume decreased by about 20%. Having said that, there was a there was a 30% increase in just pure play notification clicks, right? And that was possible because in this time frame, what changed specifically was audience segmentation, right? They focused heavily on creating interest-based target segments and engaging those segments with very very specific niche content of that segment, right? So, for instance, uh, audience of the business section was sent only business related news. Audience of the sports section was sent only sports related news, and so on and so forth. Right now, this also resulted in because this publisher is also working with us, is leveraging our push notification ads. They were also able to see a significant bump in their push notification ad revenue of close to about 15% in this time frame, right? And that is simply because of the point which we had stressed earlier, wherein which is relevancy and timing of notifications can significantly have a huge impact on your overall notification ROI, irrespective of your notification being ads or your own content. Now, we'll take a quick look at yeah. So, what is sort of also important here is just to clearly establish is the fact that push notification revenue or push notification ROI is directly related to how efficiently are you engaging your audience, right? This audience engagement is extremely critical, and what impacts audience engagement is the frequency, the relevancy, and the timing of your notifications. Now, quickly to sort of summarize, right, what a lot of marketeers who are just starting with their push notification ads experience often pick up that as a takeaway is that push notification is more ads do not specifically in the context of push advertising. More ads does not always mean more revenue, right? That's one. Second, more notifications does not always translate into more traffic for you, right? What you must sort of consider and focus on is how can you optimize and maximize on subscriber lifetime, right? How can you ensure that you're able to retain 60%, 70% of users over a period of 120, 150 days, right? That really is the key, which will sort of help you extract maximum juice from your audience, right? Maximum bang for your buck. Right? And second, obviously, sort of remains that how can you consistently increase context in your advertising, right? Which essentially means that you should work with partners who are not focused on just pure play spray and pray content or the spray or pray ads, sort of focused on segmented and personalized ads. Right. So that's what we have for you today from a point of view of push notification monetization and the do's and don'ts. So happy to take a look at questions that you might have today. Got it. Okay, so we'll sort of quickly take the first question here from Abhishek, which is how can you, how can I increase my visitor? How can I increase my visitors on my news portal? All right. I think this is the holy grail for publishers across the globe. Abhishek, apart from whatever content which you're already publishing right now, and apart from whatever SEO work that you're doing right now, what I would strongly recommend is the following. Right, one, consider exposing yourself to native ad networks. Right, and native ad networks now are not just limited to only uh, sponsored content widgets that you see on the internet, but they're also expanding to push notification advertising, right? So actually consider exposing yourself as an advertiser and tap into push notification ads across the network, right? We work very closely with a bunch of native ad networks now, including Taboola, Outbrain, AdJabra, MJD. Happy to make an introduction. Feel free to drop me a line after the end of the webinar. In fact, I have your email ID already with me. I'll drop you a line, and we can sort of talk about how can we assist you increase your how can we help you increase new traffic to your website. As far as retention is concerned, I would always again repeating what I sort of said pretty much earlier as well, which is focus on segmentation, focus on creating niche segments of your audience, focus on engaging with them specifically with the relevant content, right? And that will sort of help you in building a solid relationship with your audience. It'll help you retain your audience consistently over a long period of time. Yeah. All right. So that's pretty much it right now. I think that was the last question that we had right now. If any of you have any questions, feel free to head to iZooto.com and use the chat button to say hi. One of us will be in touch with you immediately, or drop us a line on publishers at iZooto.com. Right, we have a rock solid publish team that works pretty much across all time zones, helping publishers from the Western Coast to Japan in engaging their audience, right? So yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to write to me directly on v@iZooto.com or to publishers at iZooto.com, and we'll be happy to take your questions. Awesome. Thank you for your time. Thanks for joining us today. We'll continue doing these webinars for the next few months. So yeah, stay tuned for the next webinar. Hope to see you there again. Thank you. Bye-bye.